Although crop circles may sound like a modern day creation, one of the first reports of them came from 1678. According to the account of the farmer, he saw bright lights in his field. Not thinking anything of it, he waited until the morning to go out and inspect what had happened. At first light, he went outside to find perfectly round circles in his crops. Due to being religious, he thought that perhaps this was a sign, and so he abandoned any efforts to harvest the crops. Fast forward to the modern day and we know that humans can create crop circles, and quite easily. People who create them normally use ropes, a plank and ladders, and since people have come forward to take credit for these designs, the mystery around them has dropped dramatically. However, it's not until you start researching this topic that you begin to realize that it's not quite as mundane as first thought. During the summer of 2008, a crop circle appeared in Wiltshire, England, and at first glance it looked like a circular crop circle. It wasn't until an astrophysicist looked at this and was able to crack the meaning behind it. They said that what this actually shows is pi to 10 digits. Although it was covered by a few mathematical websites, it didn't really gain much attention. Despite the incredibly complex design and meaning, there was no trace of anyone in the nearby area that could have created such a complex design. In fact, even detailed inspections of the field were carried out in order to see if anyone had been there during its construction, but nothing could be found to indicate a human's presence. Psychological studies have been conducted on the general public in regards to crop circles, and most people agreed with what they were being told, even when their eyes could clearly see something else, with the group organisers saying that this is what they call group opinions, and even if you show someone something, their opinion can be changed if the majority of the group disagrees, and this is the reason why some have said that this pi crop circle hasn't been featured in the mainstream media. It's not until you start researching this topic that you realise so much has been left out, and usually the ones that are most commonly featured are the ones that are easiest to explain. One of the most interesting crop circles to appear though has to be that of the grey humanoid. Finding information on this crop circle was actually quite hard, which was surprising as it's probably one of the most famous crop circles ever made, but yet the information on it is limited. But after doing some deep research, it was made apparent that scientists and researchers had taken an interest in this design, which was interesting to read, but also sad that I had to scroll to page 12 in order to find this information. Mia Pikkonen is one of the many scholars who have studied this particular circle. She is a physicist from the University of Helsinki in Finland. She has studied various crop circles, and even published a paper titled the following: Crop Circles and Life at Parallel Space-Time Sheets. Other scientists have said that the message contained a binary code, with academics saying they were able to reveal the hidden message. It says the following: beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. End quote. Something to note is that the field was shut off during the night, so someone would have needed to sneak in during the night, create this complex design, and not get caught, all while doing this in the middle of the night with no lights. Nothing was detected in the field that day, and when further studies were conducted there was no signs of anyone having been in the field, with no traces being found at any of the entrances. This is an abstract of Dr. Pikkonen's study in regard to the crop circle. In this paper we combine the power-real parallel in time method, together with spatial parallelization, and investigate this space-time parallel scheme by means of solving the three-dimensional incompressible Navier-Stokes equations. Parallelization of time stepping provides a new direction, and allows the use of additional cores to further speed up simulations after spatial parallelization has saturated. End quote. Lucy Pringle, who was able to photograph and study the crop circles, said the following: the message consists of two parts, an alien picture and a picture representing a spiral-like sequence, starting from the center of the picture and proceeding counterclockwise. Obviously there are one or two incomprehensible words involved, one of which is EELI and UVE. One could consider the possibility that the message has a much deeper layer than the somewhat oracle-like statement in ASCII code, or the American Standard Code for Information Interchange, and that the presence of the little inconsistencies might be intended to make clear that a deeper level is involved. What these beings would like to communicate is something very essential about themselves as a life form. The image of an alien accompanying the bit sequence suggests this. This something very essentially could obviously include the code for translating ordinary DNA triplets to amino acids. These analogues could even be electromagnetic waves. There could also be other codes. Just at the time when the message had arrived, I developed an entire hierarchy of cognitive codes, based on Mersenne primes, and regular polygons constructible using only compass and ruler. The first guess is that the message should be represented by some universal code. The appearance of 3x3-bit code words decomposing naturally to 3 sequences of 3 bits suggests that a cognitive code consistent with genetic code might be involved. This guess was very useful in that it led to the identification of the genetic code of RNA and the decomposition of 3x3-bit proportions, also suggesting that information about RNA is in question. End quote. Tom Bearden is a former lieutenant colonel in the US Army with a Bachelor's of Science degree in mathematics. He's worked with electromagnetic warfare electronic countermeasures in the US military. He went on to say the following about these formations and how they could be linked with mysterious crafts. In fact, there are a great many anomalous events of the past few decades, which might very well be explained by the Russians testing their electromagnetic weapons. It would seem that the mysterious appearance of crop circles around the world could be accomplished by feeding a precise mathematical graphic pattern into the computerized aiming software and changing the very molecular structure of the crops themselves, alongside the lines of that pattern. The stalks fall over from the localized effects of the waves. End quote. Interestingly, another paper published by Dr. Levengood was featured in the Journal of Geophysical Research. The team studied crop circles after they had been created during the night, and noticed some anomalies in the creations that showed they can't have been created using everyday tools. It reads as follows. Crop formations consist of geometrically organized regions ranging from 2 to 80 meters in diameter, in which the plant's primary grain crops are flattened in horizontal positions. Plants from crop formations display anatomical alterations, which cannot be accounted for by assuming the formations are hoaxes. Near the soil surface, the curved stems often form complex swells with vortex-type patterns. In the present paper, evidence is presented which indicates the structural and cellular alterations taking place in plants exposed within the confines of the crop circles, differences which were determined to be statistically significant when compared with control plants taken outside the formations. These transformations were manifested at the macroscopic level as abnormal nodal swelling, gross malformations during embryogenesis, and charred epidermal tissue. Significant changes in seed germination and development were found, and at the microscopic level differences were observed in cell wall pit structures. Affected plants also had characteristics suggesting the involvement of transient high temperatures. End quote. It's interesting how many scientists and researchers have got involved in this topic, but strangely their names seem to be left out when people talk about crop circles. If anything, this proves that the topic of crop circles is one that's still shrouded in mystery, as these discoveries have shown us that at least some of them are created using direct energy weapons. So what do you make of these interesting discoveries? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.